Thanks so much. So first of all, so cool to be here after almost 25 plus years. As you can see, I'm from the batch of 1997, and I'd be remiss if I don't do a little bit of flashback to 1997. So that's my brother and myself going to, I believe, 6th or 7th standard. You can see that my mom used up a whole bottle of Pond's talcum powder on our faces, right, before we go to school. Few things that I was thinking about the session today, and I wanted to see what are the top 5 things that I can think about when I was in school. First up, I'm guessing most of you went from JKG. We don't like to say LKG in Don Bosco, we always say JKG. From JKG to 12th, I was right there in Don Bosco. And one of the houses I've never been part of my 14 years, I know in JKG, UKG, we didn't have houses. I've never been part of the yellow house, or as they say, the Thomas house. I've always been in the blue house, the green house. I still have some of those t-shirts back home. Anyone who lived in Saligramam in Chennai? So 17E was my favorite bus, right? That was like a happy sight looking at 17E after 3:15 in the Co-op X bus stop for us to go home for a 45-minute ride. And then, who loves the 2 rupee samosas in the canteen? So, when we used to be in 12B, that was probably the closest we were to the canteen. So most of the 12th standard guys used to go in pretty fast and get those samosas, so still have fond memories of that. And then my favorite subjects were, my mom was a chemistry teacher, so I don't know, because of that I used to love chemistry. And we were just talking about Master Adekalam. Anyone's got a beating from Master Adekalam? Yes? So all of us remember those bruises from Master Adekalam, right? So I have got my fair share as well. And then I saw Sai Santosh at my table there, so my favorite week every year in school used to be the culturals week. Most of the time, monsoons used to be there. It'll be raining, pouring outside, but our culturals will still go on. So those are my fond memories from school. And much like most of you here, all of us have our own batchmates and friends, right? So we call this the John's group based on the initials J, H, A, and S. So I'm the A in the middle, and we've kept in touch right from the school days. None of the other guys are here; they're all in Chennai. So right from school to college to very recently, for the first time after 1997, all of us were in the same city at the same time, just for 2 days, right? So we planned this 6 months ahead for all our families to get together and to take that picture. So we were super glad that we were able to do that. And I'm sure all of you guys have memories like this, your families coming together. So I just wanted to share that Don Bosco friends are forever, right? So, super special group. So enough about the past. What do I do today? What am I here to talk about? After school, I went to SVC in Chennai, and then after that, I've been in the tech world for a long time, consulting. I live in the Bay Area right now, and over the past 5 years or so, I've been lucky enough to work with startups all around the world. Of course, Bay Area. I was in Japan for a few months, Berlin, and then if anyone's been to Bangalore these last few years, the lifeline of that city is basically caffeine and startups, right? Kids who come out of college these days in India don't want to work for a big company anymore. They want to work in a company where they give you equity, right? That's the type of culture that is going on in India right now. So, what am I here to talk about? I'm not going to talk to you about any product or service that I do. This is something that I've started over the last couple of months based on some of my experiences in the startup world. So for example, when I was in a previous startup, a company called AtSign, which focused on cybersecurity, we used to do cybersecurity for IoT devices. So we used to wonder, can you put a small software on an ESP32, which is a small chip? And we could not find anybody here. And then I was in a conference in Bangalore, and in a NASCOM lab in India, there are guys who've just come out of college doing that same exact thing that we were trying to do for the past 17 months or 18 months, right? So there's an entrepreneur there, but they had zero visibility to the rest of the world that they could do the same thing from Bangalore, but tell the world that they are doing that. Another story is, I was in Coimbatore visiting a friend's company, and I go deep into Coimbatore. There's a house in the middle of a lot of coconut trees, right? In Coimbatore, you'll see a lot of plantations. And there's this guy working on an AI startup called Jarvis Labs. And he's built this company over the last 2-3 years, but he is so content to work with what he can make a monthly income with it, working with some universities, but he has zero visibility to the rest of the world, right? So my idea was, how can I help with my community and my network visibility to all these startups? Not all startups are born equal. So I said, okay, let me try a podcast where I can bring in people like this and give them visibility so that they can speak about their ideas and their mission to the rest of the world. Okay, so I started this, like I said, in June. I've done 10 episodes so far. I'll give you a glimpse of some of those episodes. And I thought, since I'm here, with all the bright minds from Don Bosco, share this idea with you guys as well. So this is a little bit about my podcast. Wally? So some of the guests, right? So the first guy whom you see here, Vishnu Subramanian, is the founder and CEO of the AI startup from Coimbatore. So, and some of the things he does is just incredible. He uses people who are needy, who don't have the right kind of college education, but don't have the kind of support to go to college. He gets them, he actually trains them on AI. He gives them a lot of time to do research and development, learn on the job, and those are the kind of guys whom he employs. Today, he's on the Forbes magazine in India because they are giving him enough visibility because he's doing something game-changing from an Indian market perspective. We heard about GPUs and all that a little earlier. He is offering Indian companies and any companies around the world affordable GPUs. That's about what he's trying to do. And all from a lab in some corner of Coimbatore, right? So that's one example. I ran into another guy called Magnus Mueller in Bangalore as one of my events. What is he trying to do? He was hitchhiking throughout Europe, throughout Asia, and he found himself waiting in traffic stops for a really long time. You look at all of us waiting in traffic stops, and the most frustrating part for me is you wait in a stop and there's a red signal, but no cars on the other side will be going, right? You'll be waiting for 2 minutes with your car ignition running and all those gases being emitted. So his idea is to use AI to solve for that problem, to feed in traffic information, traffic patterns, and remove all those IoT devices that have been used for the last 20, 30 years, right? If you think about it, he wants to solve for that in Germany, but that's a universal problem that all of us have, right? So those are a couple of examples of guests whom I've had on the show, and I've created at least a small impact so far. So Lucas, for example, an investor looked at him, he's already started talking to him. Vishnu, a bunch of European universities whom I work with looked at him, they're already talking to him on using the GPUs. And then in the corner, I come from a consulting background as well. So one of the companies is a father-daughter duo working on trying to solve for account management initiatives using AI. So they're getting some pilot customers after they came on the podcast as well. So small impact with what I can do with my network, but this is my goal, to give these sort of startups visibility and exposure so that the broader world sees them and comes knocking on their doors. So what is coming? I have 15 more episodes already lined up. So that's going great. I am still working, I'm like a one-man show. I get support from my nephew from India to help me with some shots and reels. So he helps me out. I'm also working on a new website. You can already check out startupsdilsay.com. You can see all of what I just said. And what can you guys do to help? Tune in whenever you can. It's available on YouTube in video format. I do a lot of post-production to add my own inputs to the content that is there. And I also give the audio format on any podcast platform that you see. You will find Startups Will Say. Send feedback. I'm learning as well. This is like my mini startup. So send me feedback and inputs, and I can improve. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs here as well. I mean, it's since morning. I've already listened to a bunch of people who could come on the podcast if you're interested. So if you think you fit the bill, just knock on my door. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, everywhere. So would love to have you on the podcast. And it's not a one-time thing. If you see my LinkedIn feeds, I take nuggets and keep promoting it over and over again. The way the LinkedIn algorithm works today, you got to crack that nut. I mean, one out of 10 times, right? But I mean, one time you'll get like 15,000 impressions. The next time you'll get 500 impressions. So you got to keep trying over and over again. So that's something that I try to do. And then, if you know of startups that fit the bill, let me know as well. I'd love to have them on. And one simple thing you can do to help me is whether you're a YouTube listener or a podcast listener or on LinkedIn, just subscribe to it, and that'll be super useful. With that, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.